Hello and welcome to Young Turks, the show that brings you your weekend fix of all things entrepreneurial. I'm Shireen Bhan. For the past 12 years, Young Turks has showcased bright sparks and disruptive ideas. We put the spotlight on new opportunities and we've helped bridge the gap between entrepreneurs and investors. Today, CNBC TV 18's Young Turks, along with the Stern Fisher Angel Network, bring you the Startup India Funding Challenge, a challenge that's open to anyone in and outside India. So if you have an idea that can transform not just your neighborhood or your city or your state, but India, then all you need to do is log on to www.startupsutra.in for more details about the submission guidelines. You can also log on to the Young Turks Facebook page for updates about this first of its kind challenge on Indian television. Applications open today. And we intend to put our money where our mouth is, so the winning venture will receive up to $1 million in angel funds, along with access to venture capital firms, incubation, mentoring, and of course a feature on our very own Young Turks. The idea of the Startup India Challenge is linked to Startup Sutra, a book that tries to unravel the journey of an entrepreneur from success to failure or failure to success. Take what you like. Author Rohit Prasad gives you a glimpse into the passion and perils of being an entrepreneur. Rohit has a PhD in economic theory from Stony Brook in the US. His research interests include regulation of telecom and entrepreneurship. He's recently served on a high-powered committee of the Department of Telecommunications to make recommendations on spectrum allocation and pricing. And he manages all of this while teaching at the Management Development Institute in Gurgaon. Also with us is veteran investor and a man who's helping us drive the Startup India Challenge, Ranjit Shastri of the Stern Fisher Angel Network. Appreciate you joining us here in the studio. Rohit, let me start by asking you, the last time that you were here in the CNBC TV 18 studios, we were talking about spectrum pricing, and today we're talking about entrepreneurship. But the issue of regulatory uncertainty and how that can actually crimp or clamp down on entrepreneurship, it's a real challenge that we face in India today, is it not?
Actually, I'm pretty glad that I'm not talking about spectrum regulation in today's landscape, because things seem to be getting from bad to worse. But it's true that entrepreneurs have unique challenges in India related to regulation, but India is also a land of opportunity for entrepreneurs today. And one of the most promising things happening on the Indian landscape is actually the emergence of this whole new breed of entrepreneurs who see the sky as the limit.
We've been having conversations with young entrepreneurs, and Ranjit, I want to put this question to you. You know, while they are beating the odds, they're taking on the challenges, they still want, you know, a little more nurturing environment. Where do things really stand in terms of nurturing the Indian entrepreneur at this point in time, the guys who don't have the big bucks?
We're trying to make the playing field more level by providing resources, mentoring to help entrepreneurs overcome those challenges.
A step in that direction is the program that we are launching jointly, which is of course the Startup India Funding Challenge. Right, you know, when we had the first conversation about why should we want to do this challenge, we were very clear about what the differentiators were. It was really about the ideas that we're looking for, ideas that can hopefully transform India.
Absolutely. Shireen, I think the time has come now for entrepreneurship to take India to its next phase. India 10 years from now is going to be a totally different society, and it will all be driven by ideas from entrepreneurship which are emerging today, ideas in healthcare, education, infrastructure, services, and both business problems and social problems are going to be solved by Indian entrepreneurs.
Ranjit, what excites you most about this?
I'm excited about the opportunity to not just look for good business ideas, but also ideas that are good for society, good for the country.
But let's be clear, we're not talking about only not-for-profit businesses, we're not talking about being in the business of welfare, we're talking about ideas that can change the socio-economic fabric of this country, but ideas and businesses that are entitled to making money as well.
When I look at the level of ambition of the people who are featured in this book, they are social entrepreneurs actually. They are a mobile banking service provider who provide banking to the unbanked, and yet they want to make $1 billion, right? So I think increasingly Indian entrepreneurs don't see a conflict between doing good and doing well. And I think it's time for us to move away from a paradigm in which those two things were in conflict.
Absolutely. So, you know, it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. You can do good and do well at the same time.
Yes.
So I want to talk to you about the provocative statement that's on the cover of Rohit's book. Incidentally, this is out on in bookstores. This is the Startup Sutra. This is Rohit's book, which you can find available in your bookstores. We are launching it here on the Young Turks platform as well. But Ranjit, you know, Rohit says on the cover, Startup Sutra, what the angels won't tell you about business and life. What do angels not tell you about business and life?
Angel investing is about a leap of faith. It's about believing in someone. What the book points out is that entrepreneurship is not purely a commercial activity, it's also a spiritual activity.
Speaking of connections, and you made plenty of them in your career as an investor, Ranjit, what do you look for that has to be non-negotiable as far as you're concerned before you put your money into a business?
I'm going to be a little boring and say yes, it's the team is very important to me, and I think what I look for in the team, first of all, it's about trust. We're not actually sitting across the table from each other, we're on the same side of the table. We all want the same thing, and it's about learning that negotiation, it does not have to be a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
I like to give the example of splitting a pie. There's two ways of splitting a pie. One is straight down the middle or maybe at an angle. There's another way where we decide that what you want is just the interior of the pie and I'm only interested in the crust, and we can actually both get 100% of what we want. So it's that kind of thinking that I'm looking for.
Right, but you know, what was the most exciting part of actually putting this book together, and why did you decide that you wanted to tell the story of entrepreneurship?
One of the really interesting things in writing this book was that I chanced upon a group of people who were so open about their lives and willing to give me complete freedom in the telling of their tales. Among this set of people is one person who was a spiritual seeker. He came to India from South Korea as a spiritual seeker and now is spending his time bringing the two countries together. So that was what made this whole process really eye-opening for me, because I realized that success in business is really linked to many things which have nothing to do with business. It's linked to interpersonal relations with your spouse or your partner, with your parents, experiences you've had in your childhood, the dynamics with your founders, and of course the inescapable role that luck plays.
Yes.
So entrepreneurship, I realized, is really a story. It's an adventure story with a spiritual dimension.
Okay, so tell us the story. Let's do a quick reading so that we can give a glimpse to all our viewers of what the Startup Sutra is about.
This story is actually set in the bar of a 5-star hotel. The spiritual seeker Mujin and I are sitting, and Mujin is telling me the story of this entrepreneur Echo. Mujin said, "Because the universe has been around so long, it has an ego. And someone with an ego, whether a human being or life itself, is simply someone or something that thinks they do not need to change. An entrepreneur is someone who stands up to the universe, to all that has come before, and says, I can know your essence. I will change your expression." And that is why the first quality of an entrepreneur is courage. But Abhishek, for all his bravery, seemed to be nervous and unsure when proposing to Mekla. I protested. Mujin laughed. Abhishek was in a situation that is known to have tested the stoutest of hearts, he said. But seriously, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act in the face of fear, the overcoming of fear, not the annihilation of it.
That was lovely. Was your proposal equally dramatic to your wife, Rohit?
Well, that's a different story.
Okay. Rohit Prasad, Ranjit Shastri, appreciate you joining us here on Young Turks. We wish you the very best of luck with the book, and of course for all our viewers, watch out for the details of the challenge, for the Startup India Challenge. It's available on the Startup Sutra website. It's available on our Facebook page as well. We do hope that if you are a young entrepreneur and you have a track record of being in business for a couple of years and you think you can change India, then do send us your details. We'd love to have you participate on this challenge. We will keep tracking this story on Young Turks week after week. So Rohit, in appreciation of all the lovely work that you're doing for the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem, here's a small token of our appreciation in association with our luxury partner Rado. Thank you very much for being part of the Young Turks story.
Thank you so much, Shireen. It's
Thanks
a pleasure
very
being here.